Please welcome to the show, Caitlin Clark. Caitlin, did you ever
What's
think
up,
you'd
guys?
be back? Cheers.
Excited to be back.
Cheers.
Don't worry. I got this nice throwback Gatorade can.
Well played.
Caitlin Clark just pulled off something no one expected. And she did it live on Zoom during a no-holds-barred interview with WNBA legends Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi. From the moment she appeared on screen, it was clear this wouldn't be your average feel-good chat. It was raw, unfiltered, and peeled back the layers on everything from her transition to the WNBA to locker room whispers, and even the truth behind those intense college rivalries, all delivered with Caitlin's trademark wit and charm.
Plays it.
There we
Will
go.
Our show loves it. Our show loves it.
So, what exactly did she reveal, and why is the entire basketball world buzzing? Stay tuned, because Caitlin didn't hold back. She opened up about Paige Bueckers, Diana Taurasi, and even called out the baseless rumors Cheryl Swoops has been spreading about the team. Ready for it? Let's go. This all ties back to a moment from a year ago, when Diana Taurasi looked into the camera and gave Caitlin Clark a now iconic warning. Reality is coming. Remember that?
The league have in store for them when they get there?
Look, SVP, reality is coming.
Okay.
There's levels to this thing, and that's just life. We all went through it.
Of course.
And you see it on the NBA side, and you're going to see it on this side, where, you look superhuman playing against 18-year-olds, but you're going to come with some grown women that have been playing professional basketball for a long time.
Fast forward to this year, and it's safe to say Diana had to eat her words. Caitlin's response? A confident smirk, a subtle nod, and a smile that said it all. The vibe was electric, witty, and playful. But make no mistake, it was also a power move.
Congrats on your retirement, D.
Thank you.
And congrats
Now-
to you.
Unfortunately,
Well,
reality is
thanks.
coming to me now.
What's your big plans?
it in early.
What are you going to do?
I keep telling Sue I thought I was going to have all this time to do all these things. I'm more busy now. So if I give you any advice, play as long as possible.
We'll see. We'll get to 10 years. Then we'll think about it.
It's a 10.
For Diana Taurasi, sharing the court with Caitlin Clark wasn't just another game. It was a generational moment. Reflecting on their first matchup in Phoenix, Taurasi didn't hold back. It felt like the last game ever going to be played, she said. The crowd was on fire. The hype was real. But it wasn't just about hoops. It was about watching a symbolic passing of the torch, right there on the hardwood. Diana spoke with genuine admiration, calling it surreal to finally face off against players she'd long watched dominate the college game.
Like for you two to play against each other.
It was amazing. I've been following Caitlin for so long and been watching her college career just in awe. And to be on the court and, the first game was in Phoenix and it felt like the last game that was ever going to be played. There was such anticipation. The crowd was going crazy. All the people that came out to see Caitlin and our teams play against each other. It really was an amazing moment. And you talked about how, if you could play against anyone that is this new generation. So I got to cross paths with Caitlin, at least for a couple games. And to me, that meant a lot, like we've been doing this for a long time, and to see Caitlin do what she does is, I think someone said the other day, I'm like, I want the season to start.
Caitlin's perspective? Equally respectful, but laced with her signature edge. She vividly remembered that Phoenix Game 2, only for her, it was personal. We were down by like 10 or 15 and came all the way back to win, she recalled, pride ringing through her voice. That comeback wasn't just another stat. It was a defining moment. Facing a legend like Taurasi and coming out on top? That's what builds confidence. And Caitlin made sure to underline it.
Like to play against D.
Well, I was saying, that game in Phoenix, because we only played in Phoenix one time. And it was before Olympic break. Obviously, we had All-Star there too, but it was a great game. Honestly, I'm pretty sure we were down like 10 or 15 and came all the way back and won. That was like our first win versus a team that was above 500. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Beneath the competitive spirit, there was a deep mutual respect. The moment grew beyond basketball. It became a clash of eras captured in real time. Caitlin and Diana might be on opposite ends of their careers, but their impact, that's timeless. As they joked and smiled while revisiting the memory, one thing was clear. This was more than friendly banter. It was the past and future of basketball sitting side by side in perfect sync.
And how excited are you for this next WNBA season? New head coach and Stephanie White. You added Natasha Howard, who Sue knows really well, DeWanna Bonner, which I know really well, Sophie Cunningham. I mean, it seems like, from the outside, this roster's ready to compete now, which is easy for us to say. We know there's a process to get there, but when you see that and you see those names come in, what does that make you feel?
Heading into the new WNBA season, Caitlin Clark isn't just bringing momentum, she's bringing fire. Talking about her revamped roster, her excitement was obvious. A new head coach in Stephanie White, seasoned pros like Natasha Howard and DeWanna Bonner, sharpshooters like Sophie Cunningham, and defensive forces like Sydney Colson and Brianna Turner. Caitlin knows the squad, and more importantly, what they can deliver. But with 7 new players and limited time to build chemistry, she's already in problem-solving mode and loving the challenge.
Oh, well, obviously on paper we have a really good team, but, you only have, we start training camp, I think, on the 27th, and then, we have a back-to-back of preseason games on May 3rd and May 4th. So it's you have a very short amount of time to put that together, and 7 new pieces, and whether we carry 11 or 12, more than half of our roster, that's a hard thing within itself, but we should be pretty good. And I'm excited about it. I think what we needed was, we added a lot more experience. In the playoffs, we just didn't have that. We were a young group. Even Kels, obviously with being with the Fever during her entire career, she hasn't really had the opportunity to play in a ton of playoff games. So having that, whether it's Sydney Colson, whether it's DB, whether it's Natasha Howard, whoever it is, I think having that experience is going to be really good for us and that leadership in the locker room. So I'm excited.
And it's not just her mental game that's leveling up. Her physical game is evolving. 2. When asked about that viral off-season photo where her arms looked especially jacked, Caitlin couldn't help but laugh.
There's the viral picture that went around showing off your guns. Everyone's wondering, have you been hitting the weight room? Was it the camera angle? What happened there?
How did you do that? I've been trying to do that for 20 years.
AI is getting out of control. Come on.
But then she got real. She admitted spending serious time in the weight room, not just to look stronger, but to feel more dominant on the court. She even pointed out specific improvements, adding a floater, finishing through contact, and taking ownership of the mid-range. One thing's clear. She's not training to keep up. She's training to take over.
What have you been doing in the off-season working on your game?
You're trying to get stronger, a lot of time in the weight room, and it's something I kind of enjoy, so it's been pretty easy for me to spend time in there and really work on that part of my game. And I think the biggest thing on the court is just that mid-range area. I got pretty uncomfortable in there when I would get in there, whether that's I didn't really have any floater. I didn't like taking a mid-range jump shot, so just getting more comfortable when I get my feet kind of into the paint, and honestly trying to just add a floater to my game, and finishing through contact and little things like that. But I think just going back to the weapons that we've added this year, there's going to be so many different things that we're able to do that I think it'll be able to make my life a little bit easier, and it should make everybody's life a little bit easier on our team.
That kind of self-awareness is rare, especially for someone just starting their pro career. But Caitlin's already thinking like a veteran. I kind of enjoy it, she said about the grind. Both the physical prep and the leadership responsibilities of managing a star-studded roster. She knows the expectations are sky high and she's stepping up to meet them. And remember when Cheryl Swoops claimed the Indiana Fever locker room was toxic? Caitlin's poised to set the record straight.
Well, in the Fever, we're y'all.
That's not my point. There's a lot of other shit going on that players are this ain't where I want to be.
Over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some new shit going on around there.
It's a lot. Yeah. So you have players that are very significant on this Indiana Fever team that are I don't
want to be here.
This is where I want to be.
Yeah.
Well, Caitlin Clark has finally addressed it head on.
Whole week was like, Indiana, they don't get along, all this. And I'm like, great. And then I'm like, this is the most together team I've ever seen.
Is that one of the hardest things for you as a pro now? Just seeing all the narratives like that one, that your team didn't get along and just having to literally ignore it, deal with it, even though you know it's not true?
She confirmed what many suspected all along. What Cheryl Swoops said simply wasn't true.
It's something you kind of just become used to. It's like people think they know what's going on inside of your locker room and they just don't. At the end of the day, it's just, the girls that you have in there, and then obviously your coaching staff, and that's all that matters. And honestly, the best thing about last year is we honestly had so much fun together. Yeah, we lost our first 8 games or whatever, but we wouldn't have won if we didn't have a tight-knit circle or a good locker room. And that's the reason we kind of turned everything around, is just we needed some time. We were a young group and we figured it out. But yeah, it was really fun, honestly.
Caitlin Clark knows exactly what it feels like to go to battle with UConn, and she remembers every second of it. We played them 3 times, she recalled, referencing games from the Phil Knight tournament, the Sweet 16, and finally, the Final Four. Each matchup was a challenge, and Gino Auriemma's team came prepared every time. They always had the best scouts against me, she said. You could tell how smart he is.
You play against a Coach Auriemma coached team. What kind of beast is that?
Well, I think they just are so disciplined. That's just, they're going to do what they do. They're going to do it really well. And also I think for myself, facing his teams, they always had some of the best scouts against me. You can tell how smart he is.
Yeah.
He understands the game. He's coached against so many really good players. And, there were games I would go into and the scouts were just it was just come on, why are you going under ball screens? Why are you in drop coverage? But he just made it difficult.
That wasn't just flattery. It was a mix of frustration and respect. From full court pressure to ever-changing defensive schemes, Caitlin made it clear that UConn never gave her an easy night. He always had something in his back pocket, she said about Gino. It turned every game into a chess match.
Different defenders at me, and obviously having Nika Mule last year, she's probably one of the better defenders that I've faced. She's just up in your grill. She'll pick you up 94 feet. But then he just always has an answer, has different people. And I think that's one of the best things about him. He has one game plan, but then he has something in his back pocket that he can go to. Yeah. And that's going to bother you again.
But Caitlin's respect goes beyond the coaching. It extends to the players, too. When asked about Paige Buchers, her tone immediately softened into admiration. Her poise, Caitlin said. That's something you need coming into the W. She praised Paige's mature, unshakable presence on the court.
When you watch Paige play and you see her in the next level, what are the things that obviously she's going to take to the WNBA and it's going to translate instantly? And what are the things that, it takes you a couple games to get used to?
I think her poise, that's something you need coming into the W. It all hits you so fast. Is you're moving to a new city, you're trying to understand new teammates, you have a new coach, while you're trying to live up to all these expectations. And I think that's one of the greatest things about her game is just her poise and her maturity, and nothing ever.
She can score at all 3 levels, Caitlin added, calling Paige's mid-range jumper some of the best I've ever seen. That's high praise from someone who's dominated every level of the game. But she didn't stop there. Caitlin also pointed out Paige's flexibility. She can play point or off the ball, she said. That'll be interesting next to Arike.
I think she'll honestly fit right in, so. And
so
that arena's fun to play in too. It's a small place, It's loud. Honestly, they should move every game to American Airlines, because I think Paige has that type of draw. She'll be able to bring those type of fans in. I know we're playing there, one of our games. Hopefully the other one gets moved too. We would appreciate that, Dallas Wings, if you can move the other one. But
I love this.
The conversation's heating up when it turns to technical fouls. And with Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, and Caitlin Clark in the mix, it didn't disappoint.
Speaking of how much D loved refs and technicals and ejections, here's the time Diana got ejected and sent me this photo from the locker room.
Oh my God, you got tossed.
Got tossed.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. Dee, tell us.
The segment quickly turned into a comedic therapy session, with everyone admitting to their more combustible moments on the court. Diana proudly embraced her rep, laughing as she told the story of getting tossed after picking up techs in both the first and third quarters. It was time to go home, she joked.
I picked one up quick in the first quarter, which is, you're always doomed when you pick up a quick one. And then I picked one up in the third quarter and it was time to go home. So I took my ass to the back and chilled out, and my team got the win, and we went from there. But
How
I
many
had to make.
technicals did you get last year?
Say that again, Caitlin.
How many technicals did you get last year?
So last year, I think I think the limit is 7, and you get suspended.
Yeah, you got 6.
I got